from here. I'm from North Miami.
Born and raised?
Not born and raised. I was born in Germany. My dad was in the Army. I'm an Army brat. I was born in Germany. I didn't stay there long. I was between there and California. I settled here when I was 5 years old, and I've been in North Miami my whole life. I lived about 2 minutes from here.
So that, as I'm sure if everyone knows, or who doesn't know, North Miami is big on studios. You know, this is basically the side. It's a studio city is the nickname, really. North Miami.
Yeah, this is the audio-visual capital of South Florida, of the South, which is kind of kismet in a way, right? Because of what I do. I didn't know that the whole time growing up here. Not until I went to Full Sail did I even know this studio existed.
Right.
I used to walk past the studio.
No way.
To go to school. I went to North Miami Middle, North Miami Senior, W.J. Bryan down the block there. And I never knew this was a studio until I went to Full Sail and I started. They gave me a list of studios to go and look for internships. And looking back now, everything makes sense. And we'll talk about that further. You know, just in everybody's journey. I know everybody's trying to achieve something. We all got goals. We all want to fucking kick ass, right? You know what I'm saying? You don't come into this shit, at least me, I didn't come into this shit to kind of be like, yeah, you know, I kind of record, bro, you know, I kind of do music. No, you want to be one of those motherfuckers, man. One of those motherfuckers on the radio and motherfuckers know you before you walk in the room. Not for the fame of it, but for just because of the love of it and to be associated with something you love. I love making music. And so for somebody to see me and say, yo, E, man, I fuck with what you do, is like the most amazing feeling. And so that's what we're all trying to achieve here. We all want to make some fucking noise in this shit. We all want to make a dent in the industry. I'm a big hip hop fan. I'm a big music person in general. And early on, I remember a long time ago, I was like 16. I went to a concert and I was there early. And I was there so early that the people didn't get there yet. So they were still setting up the stage. And I was like, yo, bro, I'm here. Can I help? And they let me help. This was at Roberto Clemente Park. It was a festival called Hoodstock.
My cousin did that with DJ Raw.
DJ Raw, that's my guy.
Yeah.
And so, matter of fact, Raw is the one who said, yeah, come on, help us. And so they gave us backstage passes. I'm 16. And so we got to hang out, and I saw the whole production. I'm back there with Tony Touch DJing. I know, I'm old, so y'all probably don't know who these people are, but these are anchors of hip-hop. DJ Tony Touch is a major anchor of hip-hop. I got to meet Crazy Legs from the Rocksteady crew. And I remember just saying to myself, man, this is it. I was already a fan. I was already somebody that, a consumer of hip-hop and a lover of hip-hop. But then that was when I said, yo, I want to be a contributing member to hip-hop. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had nothing. I didn't do nothing. I didn't play an instrument. I didn't rap. I didn't break dance.
What age did you start your journey at? Like really
about
start?
16. That was
about
about
16?
Well, probably, yeah, around then.
Picked up on Pro Tools?
No. I'm talking about my homeboy was a DJ.
Okay.
Back then, our biggest heroes in North Miami was Cool and Dre.
Yep.
Cool and Dre were DJs, not producers. Cool and Dre threw jams right down the street here at the Armory, down not too far from here at the JC's, just throw like all ages jams for kids. And my boys were their little bros. They DJ'd too, and they used to do little parties too. But when Cool and Dre threw a jam, we all went to Cool and Dre's jam.
Right.
We used to just hang out there and be like this behind the thing, like. And we just loved the feeling of that, like, yo, we know people. Yeah, we evolved. We were part of this.
When did you start getting into the hardware?
So what ended up happening, Cool and Dre and them started they had an underground radio station. That's where Khaled came up.
Okay.
And so we saw Cool and Dre making moves. So then my homie, he had a studio not too far from here, probably 5 minutes, not even 2 minutes from here. Built a studio in the back of his crib. And again, I was a street kid, man. I used to just hang out at the park, get into bullshit. And my homies were DJing, and that shit just immediately attracted me. So I used to go there and watch them just practice DJing. I didn't even participate. I was just so in awe of the shit that I would just sit there and just hang out.
Would you say they were one of your mentors throughout your journey?
Nah, they weren't mentors per se. They were just they were cool.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like that shit was cool.
Right.
So,
Dre.
yeah, Cool and Dre was like, they weren't even really my friends. They were just cool. They were older kids. They were older than us. They were like 3 years ahead of us in high school. We were just like middle school kids.
Okay.
But they were dope. So anyway, my boys had that. They built a studio. And so little by little, you be a little nervous, and you don't really, like, you don't know what you're going to step out with. Already we had it. Like, because this is pre-Pro Tools. This is pre-Pro Tools, what the fuck do they call it?
Sound Tools.
Well, it was after that, but it was like what was the Pro Tools LE? The first home shit. Yeah. It wasn't none of that. My homeboy somehow, I just talked to him the other day, I was on live, and my boy, I was like, yo, tell me that fucking software you had. Back in like, what the fuck was this? This was like 97, 98. And this motherfucker had 128 count software. That Pro Tools LE was only giving you 8. So I had to ask him this 2 days ago. Like, bro, what was that? And so anyway, the point is that little by little, I started to kind of like, well, let me try. And I, like, literally, I sat there and I used to be a fly on the wall, just watch people make beats and shit. And then I bought my own beat machine and would start applying myself, bring my beats to the guys that I thought were amazing. These are all just hood legends to me. Yeah. Luca in the house, what's up?
In the house.
And again, and the reason I tell this whole story from the beginning, because I'm sure a lot of you guys are similar, where, you just had a real, like, just primitive love of it and not knowing exactly where you're going to start. I think a lot of us start at beats now, because beats is kind of like, that's the easiest shit. You get a software, you can start making beats. But to move forward from that, I just understood that I kind of love music a little different. I want this shit different, but there was no bridge. I didn't understand how to take this love and talent and things that I think I have to the radio, to TV. Again, this is pre-social. This is just like videos on TV still. And so at the time, it was like Cash Money and then We're Killing and all that. And I didn't understand. I was like, how does that happen? Is that even real? And then, boom, we had a music store open up down here, Mars Music, that is in the plaza off of 123rd and Biscayne, that is not there anymore. It's a Ross now. And it was Mars Music, and out in the front they had a bus, Full Sail, real world education. And we all got pamphlets, and everybody took it home. We all a couple of us that were kind of serious, we sent away for the pamphlet, for the package. The package came, and that number came back, and everybody was like, oh no, we ain't doing that. This shit's too expensive. Fuck that shit. And
I can't imagine how much.
I don't know. I just said, this is the bridge. Mm-hmm. I knew this was the bridge. Oh shit, they really teach you these real fucking big boy boards. This is how I get in. And I was fucking hell bent. And I was working in a hospital at the time. You know what I'm saying? I just graduated. I went to work at hospitals. And now everything shifted from there. And I said, I'm going to save my money. And I'm going to figure this fucking thing out. I have to go here because this is going to be the thing that separates me from everybody else. The hobbyists, the people that just kind of like this shit. And to finish it out, because I know you're ready for the next question, this was the thing that was going to legitimize my journey into making an impact in this fucking industry. Give me that.
So, what was your first big break?
Alright, so
the thing that made it like the momentum started hitting really hard.
Because I'm gonna tell my story the way I tell my story. So, I'm just trying to. So I got an internship out of graduating. I was lucky enough to I was kind of like that. It's different for me, man. I just saw myself different. I carried myself different. I loved this shit different, and I believed in myself. This shit has a lot to do with faith, man. I always tell people, to this day, I said I'll always bet on me. I always bet on me. Why? Because I'm going to outwork everybody. I know you hear this shit. Shit sounds almost cliche, because in many interviews you'll hear, oh yeah, I'll outwork everybody. I'm one of them. I've impressed everybody that I work with. I used to tell people when I worked here, I said, bro, look, I don't talk shit. I never talk down on no other engineers like this, but I would say, don't be sick. If I have to pick up your session, you might not get it back. Real shit.
Real shit.
Real shit. The artist would tell me. yo, E, bro, like, you know, so-and-so, he's pretty dope, but I ain't gonna lie. Like, you know, if you book me, bro, book me.
What's the secret in that,
And
man?
lose
It was
that.
just the hard work and their knowledge of it. You had like some type of customer service. You like.
I tell every artist in this shit. First off, I tell like this. I say like this. I've spoken this in other. You know, I've been here. I come in here. I started here, guys. I don't know if I got there yet. I didn't get there yet. I started here. I interned here
With Ron and Howard.
with
You
Ron and
actually
Howard.
saw Ron and Howard like in action.
In
right?
action.
It's amazing.
The Albert brothers are fucking are gods to me. Those are my family. You gotta understand who they are. They come under the school of Tom Dowd. Tom Dowd is one of the fucking Mount Rushmores of engineers.
Write that down.
You
guys.
don't know who Tom Dowd is? Look up Tom Dowd. Tom Dowd is Mount Rushmore of engineers, and they are students of Tom Dowd. And I was able to be in that environment with them and learned under them. You know, I was an intern. I did all that just like you guys did. I made fucking food runs.
It was different back then.
I mean, it was different and it's the same. What was different was, I don't know, I think nowadays, I think you guys don't trust the process as much. I think it feels like I did enough. I think it feels like, you know, hey, I've done that already. You know, like, why do I need to do it again? Just play your position. I'm a big component of this. And I mean, we'll get into the technical here and there, but honestly, this, what I'm telling you now, I always, me personally, feel like it's way more important than what did I do on the kick drum. I was different because whatever you asked of me, because think of this. When you have a dream and you say, you know what people always say if they can get their dream, what is the main thing you guys would say? I'll do anything. I'll do anything for that. And then somebody will ask you, "Go, bro, clean the board with a toothpick, with a Q-tip." I mean, I ain't doing that shit, man. I ain't no sucker, man. Don't try me. You're fighting yourself. You're fighting yourself. It's about being in the present. It's about being wholeheartedly adamant and passionate about making that cup of coffee for the artist. I never drank coffee. I still don't drink coffee. But guess what? I took pride at one point at making a great fucking cup of coffee. So when the artist would say, "Damn, it's a great cup of coffee."
I do that with my tea.
It's amazing. I would fucking feel great. Because guess what? This is, and I'm going to try and chop it up a little faster. So boom, as an intern. Back in my fucking day, get in the room. How dare you? You're a fucking intern. Get out of here. They'll ask you for a cup of coffee. So for that little split moment, I give them a cup of coffee. And I impress them enough. They say, "Man, that's a good cup of coffee." Hey, tell that kid to come back in here. I get another opportunity to come in the room. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Hey, man. Fuck, man. I love that. Next session, now they calling me in. Now they kind of like me. They've been talking to me a little bit. Mm-hmm. Now they say, "Hey, man, you can hang out for a little bit." Oh, shit. Now I get to fucking hang out in the room and be in here while you guys are creating? Wow. Why? What got me in the room? A great fucking cup of coffee. Not because, yo, man, I make beats, bro. Really, I'm a rapper. Yo, bro. They don't know me from a can of paint, and they don't want to know right now. All they need me for is one fucking thing. So why don't I focus on that one thing and make that shit be amazing? Boom, I get in the room. All of a sudden, now, shit, I'm one of the team. Yo, bro, you record? Yo, so-and-so's late, man. I just want to lay down a demo before he gets here. Yeah, man, I could do that. Damn, man, you did a great job. And you know, I can keep going. You know, do you understand the progression? Mm-hmm. But it's always about taking passion in what you do, where you're at. Obviously, we always want to look forward. We always want to grow. We always want to look to the end goal when I'm a star and everybody's adoring me with my trophy. But it all begins with the passion in the space you're at now. If you're half-assing it now, how do you even think that translates to that? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not even training yourself. It's about training yourself. Right. You know, it's like there was a saying or something like that about habit. And if you consistently do it, if you have a habit of doing something, it becomes a part of you. Right. So imagine if you start early in things that are not sexy, they're not rock and roll. It doesn't feel like, but you're clean. you're on time, you're on point with your things. That translates. And it only gets sharper as your career grows. So then once you get to the point where now people are calling me and, yo, E, we need you. The system is set. This is how I move. I don't know how to move any other way. I'm efficient. And that's how I get a lot of my clients. So bam, we could do a move from there. Oh, big break. I'm sorry. So boom, I'm tracking now. A little bit of my story also. I had a son late. Early in my career. Very early in my career. A month after I just started interning. I'm not even making money yet.
Right.
So I had a different type of pressure on me. I didn't have the space to kind of be like, yeah, man, I'm just hanging. My mind was constantly, how do I make this shit bring something back to the crib? And so that's why I went so balls to the wall. That's why I just put everything I had into this and gave everything I had. And that's something I can call out too. I have a thing where I say, everybody says, are you keeping it real with yourself? But I said, are you keeping it really, really, really real with yourself? When you tell people, yo, I be grinding. I be going in. Are you? Sometimes it's like I've seen people that they kind of do enough. Yeah, man, I went in today. I constantly question myself. Even now, I say, is there anything else I could be doing? Is there anything else I got? Is there anything else I could be doing? Because guess what? Surprise everybody. There's always more to be done. There's always more you could be doing, especially the earlier in the game. Because the more you got time, you ain't got no deadlines, you ain't got no crisis, you ain't got your phone fucking ringing off the hook from clients.
You don't got a coach waking you up in the morning.
So now's the fucking time, bro. Now's the time to fucking sacrifice. Fuck the party, fuck the birthday, fuck everybody. The only two people I ever stopped anything for is my child and my grandmother. You know what I'm saying? They both tatted on me. Mm-hmm. Everything else, fuck my birthday for sure. I'm always working my birthday. What are you doing for your birthday? Everybody, yo, come on, bro. You need to... I take it as a good omen that I'm working. I'm generating on my birthday. So right. I feel like that's a good omen. Yeah. I want to be working every birthday because that's just like a thing. Right. I've never been concerned too much with... there's that saying, it's very cliche. It's not the ear, it's the gear.
Yeah.
I've been in positions where we didn't have the gear. But like I was saying earlier about signal flow and how things work out, where the artist gives a fuck. They just want to work. And the last thing they want to hear is, well, they don't have the right gear. So what do you mean? We all here, we're all ready to go, and you're the guy who's supposed to make this happen. You can't make it happen. Yo, we need somebody else then. You're telling me there's no way you can make this work. And so I was somebody that in my head, I hated to say I can't. I still. And so I'll exhaust every option, every scenario in my head before I finally tap the fuck out and say, you can't do it. Because fuck that. Even if it's a bullshit ass preamp or if it's not a preamp and I gotta figure out another way to fucking do something gain wise, I'm gonna make this session happen. Because back then, I don't know about how it is now. I haven't been a staff engineer in a long time. But I remember my relationship with the Albert brothers was, you need to keep them here. Because back then especially, I don't know about now, motherfuckers would walk out of sessions. I've seen it happen as an intern. And I remember that was one of the incentives of me coming as an engineer, when I'd seen it, where they said, man, fuck this shit. I ain't paying for this shit. Man, y'all don't got nobody in this building that knows what the fuck they doing? And I mean, oh my God, I remember feeling embarrassed for the engineer. I felt like, that warmth, like, oh my God, this is so fucking real. And so when it was my turn to sit in the chair, I just always had that in the back of my mind, where it's like, I'm gonna be able to make this motherfucker run. I just never had that in me where to tap out. So chain-wise, I'm the kind of guy that is real funny, right? So right now, the go-to, we all can fucking probably say it. It's the fucking C800 to the 1073 to the CO1B. It's the holy grail of signals. I hate it for rap. Quote me on that. I hate it for rap. The C800 became famous because of who?
You can actually see it right there. Little preview of the C800. We do have it.
Really not. I don't know if Michael was on that, but I know Mariah Carey was on that. And I know that shit elevated Mariah Carey. Why? Because Mariah Carey's voice is so great. Because it's such crispy highs on a C800, that for her whisper tone that she has and that thing. It was great for her. So she made many fucking hits on that record, so the C800 became the shit. And because it's expensive, so you know, ballers want to ball. Give me the expensive mic. I hate it on hip-hop. So whenever I go to most studios, before I even, sometimes they ask me. If not, they're gonna put up the C800, the 1073 to the CL1B. Does it work? Of course it works. But so does every fucking mic chain. As far as I'm concerned, shit, it all works. I've even been the weird guy where I'll take a C800 and run it through an Avalon. And that seems fucking counterproductive. Like, what you mean? The fuck would you run through an Avalon for? Because guess what? I'm doing a hip-hop song. I need something to fucking take the edge off. I don't want the pristine highs. I don't want that prettiness. I want this shit to be in your face, a little gritty. So I'll run it. I've actually literally saw assistants look at me and say, "Are you sure? Man, run that shit through the fucking album." And so I'll tell this story real quick. So I'm up in Jungle Studios. That's Alicia Keys Studios. I'm with Ross. We go there to present songs to Jay-Z. Ross really wants Jay on a record. And so we're in New York. Jay's up there working on Magna Carta. He's in the room with Timberland. We walk in, came out of that session was, "Fuck with me, no, I got it." So the way it works with a lot of rappers, you know, they'll do swaps. So nobody really pays any money. Your value is my value. You know, we just do an even swap. You know, instead of saying, you know, I'm 100 for a verse, so I'm 50 for a verse. Fuck it, we'll do an even swap. So because we were already getting Jay to do Fuck With Me, You Know I Got It, Jay was, well, I got this record. And so, all right, cool. And Ross is very much, especially, Ross is like me, and that's why me and Ross get along. And I won't even say that we're like each other. I don't want to feel like, oh, he's like me. We're like each other, and that's why we connected. Ross will see a challenge, and he wants to not only accomplish the challenge, he wants to impress. So one of his things that he loves to do, and he's very good at, he's just a fucking talented writer, is like, yeah, we got this record. He's like, fuck it, man, pull that shit up. We'll do it right now. Because a lot of times, you know, you pull up a record on an artist, and they're like, yeah, man, well, you know, give me a copy. I'll take it home. I'll take it to my studio. Especially, this is Jay, this is Timberland. Ross like, loop that bitch now. I'm gonna lay this motherfucker right now. So while he's writing, Tim's engineer, which he's a fucking a G, as Godby, Chris Godby. He's a G. He's got some real hits on his belt. He's like, he's whispering to me, you know, the beat's playing, you know, this whole shit going on. He's like, yo, we got Kanye chain, we got Jay's chain. Kanye, C800, 1073, CL1B. Can we all guess what Jay-Z's chain was?
C800 Avalon.
Great choice, but no. U87 into the Avalon. My chain already that I've been using on Raws.
Right.
And I remember myself, I laughed to myself. Because everybody, they hate on the Avalon so bad. And when I said Jay-Z fucking uses the Avalon, I said, oh, I'm never going to feel any type of way when I tell people this is the chain. Then they kill me even further. And they say, yeah, B records on that too. What you mean? And I'm going to tell you why. Because the 1073 is a stepped attenuator, right?
Yep.
It goes. So the engineer was telling me, because this is a fluid movement, while he's recording B, he can fluidly because he didn't compress her too much. Mm-hmm. But when she goes big, he can dip her smoothly.
Manually
automating her vocal while he's recording.
That's wild.
And so he said he'd rather be on the Avalon than on the 1073 because that's a fucking major dip in dBs. You know what I'm saying? It's like fucking 5 dB increments or some shit like that. And that shit blew my mind. So yeah, chain. So next.
What about like in the Pro Tools? You have any kind of simple chain you like?
I have a simple chain. I'll try to keep it because I know I'm talking. I can talk. I love talking shop. This is what I do. This is my life, man. I can talk this shit for fucking days. So, okay, once upon a time, I was really into niche plugins, right? And again, this is back when recording with your laptop wasn't as easy. The processing wasn't as strong. This and that. This shit wasn't really that realistic. You know, that shit. It was more glitches trying to like say, yeah, I'll bring my setup. And again, that's one of those things as an engineer where the artist will be like, bro, and then if your setup fucks up, I was like, fucking dumbass, this fucking dumbass wanted to use this whole setup when you got a whole studio here. So that was one of the things you wanted to eliminate. So you didn't really bring your own setup. So what would happen was when I would pull up sessions on other people's rigs, and I had these niche plugins, they weren't pulling up because they didn't buy them, they didn't have them. And I remember specifically, again, I was in New York again, and this was a different session. This was earlier than that Jay-Z shit. I remember we was doing some routine shit, and then all of a sudden, Ross is on the phone. He's like, yo, Puff's coming. You know, we're going to play him the album, you know, what we got so far. So, you know what I'm saying? Just make sure everything right. So I said, oh, fuck. All right, cool. I start pulling up the songs because we already had like a track list laid out. So I knew the songs that were going to be the album. So I pull them up, and every one of them, I just see grayed out plugins. Grayed out plugins. No. Grayed out plugins. And I'm like, fuck. What am I going to do? So, boom. What ended up happening for that session, I just had to really mix on the fly. Mm-hmm. I had to kind of replace things. And while they were listening, I'm literally still doing tweaks. Just trying to ride. If like I heard, like immediately, I'm like listening how, when I hear the hook and I got the hook kind of vibing, I'm listening for, I already got my hand on the fader because at least volume-wise, sometimes you could trick your client. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the mix isn't really there, but at least volume-wise, they'll notice that more than anything. So I literally have my hand on the fader when I'm listening to the when I know the verse is going to come in, just so I could ride that fucker and give it some more volume if it needed it. And then while they're listening and I see nobody's noticed, I'll start tweaking EQ-wise and shit like that and compression-wise. And then by the time the song was done, they'd be like, yo, play that shit again. I kind of got a mix on it. Yeah. And then I'm still tweaking, but it's kind of sitting now. And I had to do that for the whole fucking album. So I said, never fucking again. So what I ended up doing, and to this day I have the same fucking chain, is I rely on waves. Because the one thing universally is every fucking studio has waves. Every studio has waves, so it's like, I'm going to build a whole chain off of waves. So my whole chain, to this day, REQ6, to de-esser, R-comp, and then I use the limiter. That might be even an Avid limiter. And that's it. That's the fucking chain. And that shit, still to this day, that's what I fucking use. And that's just because I know it so well. And this kind of goes back to the whole thing where I was explaining earlier about the basics, the foundation. You know, an EQ is an EQ. A compressor is a compressor. You know what I'm saying? Just because, oh, it's not the SSL compressor, it's not the UAD. It's a fucking EQ, man. It cuts, it boosts.
That's what I always say.
You know what I'm saying? It does the same shit. And like I said, I could trust it. They're workhorses. Obviously, when I do go to the mix side of things, when I take that session, I still have the REQ in there, and I still have the de-esser in there, and I still use the R-comp a lot.
What would you say is your favorite brand plugin? Like, that would be Waves?
I don't know. I don't know favorite brand shit. I mean, if anything, I have a favorite brand.
You can't even say that.
YouTube.
I know, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Huh? What?
No free
They ain't paying you to say that. Don't
Yeah,
say
yeah,
nothing.
yeah. Ain't no checks and cup. But shout out to Sound Toys. I like Sound Toys.
Shout out Sound Toys, brother.
I like Sound Toys. I like Baby Audio. Who else fucks with me? Isotope. My guys. But
Got the check.
well, but shout out to Sound Toys. If I think just like again, because when it comes to the dynamic stuff and the EQ stuff like that, that's interchangeable. More so, what I'm looking for when I start to pick other things, then maybe like I start choosing REQ, and I'm saying, well, maybe I want something else. It's more for character than the actual usage. What I will say is, and they don't cut a check, but FabFilter. I like FabFilter a lot. Just because of the user interface, it's very easy. It's very easy for me to find where my spots are, and they're a dynamic EQ. So I can kind of like, sometimes I'm not always wanting to cut, because sometimes maybe that frequency is only popping out certain times. So I like to have a dynamic EQ and just kind of pull when it's triggering. You know what I mean? But yeah, for when it comes to that shit, it's more character. What I've learned moving, in my career later on, I'm just trying to find character.
Mm-hmm.
So I do use a lot of UAD stuff, but I'm using UAD stuff because it's emulating shit.
Mm-hmm.
And what I honestly end up doing a lot of the time is it's an old school thing. Like back when we had, mind you, when I started, again, I sound like a fucking dinosaur, but there wasn't no programs on the laptop and, yo, bro, here's the dongle, drop it in. We had to dump it in.
Yes, that channel by channel.
We had MPCs that were running off fucking SMPTE code. And we used to have this, MIDI, but we had a SMPTE MIDI converter off the board, and we would dump in individual sounds. And what I would do is to really get your tone was use the line trim. How hard am I hitting the channel for that extra? You know what I'm saying? So if we had a kick drum, I'm probably gonna make these red lights go just because I wanted to print in like that, get a little crunch on the kick.
Saturation going off.
Yeah. So I emulate that in the plug-in world. I like to crush shit. I like shit to fart out a little bit. That's my thing. I might sometimes, it's a fancy parallel, but basically just copying the sound and just boom and compress, doing whatever effects you're doing on that, and then having the original transit of the early thing and just kind of blend. Mm-hmm. But I love to crush shit. I love to do that. Besides that, man, this shit all works. Trust me. I done did some shit. I done had to do some on-the-spot shit straight off the laptop in a hotel room, and we're dropping it tonight. Mm-hmm. And I only had the basics on my shit. You just gotta know what you're working with.
So as a mixing engineer, and I'm sure you also master, do you believe in this day and age that mastering is still worth it, even though mixing engineers in general, I'm talking about just people who just focus on mastering?
So
is it still worth it to get a sound that you created and everyone enjoys?
Yeah. To
send it to someone else to get it mastered?
It depends. And here's the thing. I never claimed myself to be a mastering engineer. I respect that, it's recording, mixing, mastering. I don't know where the fuck it started. I mix and master, bro.
So, well, if I remember...
I'm just saying,
Oh.
No, but let me...
Go for it.
So, and then I'd had motherfuckers, so, I'm rather pricey, in this day and age. So I have motherfuckers come to me and I say, and they're like, oh, what do you master too? Well, I got a guy for $250. He mixes and masters. I say, hey man, it sounds like a fucking deal, bro. Run with it. That sounds great. You know what I'm saying? So my thing about it, look, because due to budgets, I master most of my mixes. When there is a budget, I love to send that shit off to a master engineer.
Mm-hmm. Like early in the beginning, how did you get from not being credited to being credited?
Just kind of learning the hard fucking way, Every session is a learning experience. So you might fuck something up, even if it's a mixing thing. It's not even that. It's not even the business side. You might have fucked something up or didn't get the right thing going, and then you take that, you learn from it, and then you get a new client. They don't know you from a can of paint, and now you can start a precedent with them. And now you know, and now you conduct yourself accordingly with the new artist. And now they know you as this guy that handles this business as such. Take it or leave it.
Recording or mixing? What do you prefer?
I like mixing, I ain't gonna lie. I like mixing just because I like to be in my own little world, and I don't like people to bother me and let me get my ideas out. And, obviously the artist has to interact with me, but I like to kind of do what I do, and then we roll from there.
Artist tells you, I want it to sound like this. Like, bro, I just did that. Like, what or how do you kind of have that conversation with the artist to like, hey, this is what I'm bringing, and I also feel like engineers play a role as a coach in sessions, so how do you kind of like just gauge all of that and kind of keep it, professional and still keep that etiquette without hurting the artist's feelings?
That's a great fucking question. And honestly, and that's one of my superpowers is reading the room.
That's big.
Reading the room, understanding your artist, and understanding if you even have that leeway to speak up and say, hey, this would be dope. Because I ain't gonna lie, it's not every session I just say, yo, bro, hear me out. Sometimes I just know. I don't have that rapport. I don't know you. And you and your boys got a vibe, and it is what it is. I might think it's whack, but it's not. That's not the point. Who am I? You and your boys is what really matters. And your boys telling you to do this. And so, you know, if it starts to run into what my realm is as just basically an engineer, technically, I might say, hey, bro, you're gonna distort, or you're gonna, you know what I mean? Technically, I might speak up because that's my position in the room. Creatively, you know, again, that's a here and there, depending on the room. I've been on both sides. As a staff guy, you're kind of a staff guy. You're kind of just serving the purpose for what they're asking you for to do. When I get called from the label and they say, E, we need you on this record. I want you to sit in with the artist. I already know, and the artist already knows. They know where I come from. Everybody in the room is respected because you're here for a reason. And then that's when I kind of can really be, I can kind of flex and, yo, this is what on this record, what I would have done is. But it's all about reading the room and understanding, because it is, like you said, it's reading the room and it's being like a therapist. It's also, even with artists that I know for years and years, and I could see them struggling, it's about getting this thing done, getting him over the hill. Whatever the stump is, how can I help him? Because my again, coming from being a staff guy and having a studio manager that wanted to know that the session went smooth and they're gonna pay, was always keeping the session going. And that's what I always tell people, the engineer is the captain of the ship, regardless of what, and don't let nobody disrespect you like that. One of the things I always tell people to do, even when you're a beginner and you're in here, is introduce yourself to the artist. Hey, I'm so and so. I'll be your engineer today. Because guess what? If you don't do that, and you're the person that's all curled up there by the computer, then you just become, hey, turn that shit up, bro. Hey, man, put this shit in. Hey. And then there is no respect level. But if you come out there, look them in the eye, hey, how you doing? I'm so and so. I'll be your engineer today. Already, you're a person now in the room, and you're somebody that they can. Now it's almost like they have a conscience. I don't want to be too disrespectful. Like, damn, you know, hey, Bob, like, can you turn that up a little bit? Whereas if you're just, because I've seen it a lot, and honestly, that's one of my arguments that I had. I don't know if they teach that now in schools, but I remember back in the day, it was like, you kind of fucking eyes down, don't make eye contact, you're servitude to your artist, you know, whatever they want goes, and you're this guy, and you're curled up in front of that computer, and the room is dark, and motherfuckers is talking shit, and you don't say nothing, and it's just your experience, just everything goes downhill from this. What's the energy in the room? Because sometimes some people are so focused that they miss the blessing that's off to the left because they're so blinders here. This is what I'm looking for. And maybe somebody had a great idea and then you were like, no, but that's not what I'm looking for. And then that could have been the thing that changed all our fucking lives. So it's a lot about being just empathetic to the energy in the room, you know. Like letting the room, you know, like there's a saying Quincy Jones says, leave the door cracked so you can let God in.
So what do you do when you're feeling burnt out? Or
Take breaks.
Like the vision is just gone.
Take breaks. I take a lot of breaks.
So take a poop, come back.
What'd you say? Take a what?
Take a poop, come back.
Take a poop?
When you're not, like, how do you find yourself again?
Just you gotta, like I said, take breaks. It doesn't. The break doesn't have to be the same break every time. It could be different breaks. You know, take a break, talk to your friends, you know, pick up the phone, talk some shit, laugh a little bit, argue a little bit, whatever. Something that's just away from that energy. Because what happens is usually when I take breaks all the time, on every mix I do, I take a lot of breaks. I learned that from, I had a book, it was like the mixing guidebook or something, right? It's like one of those ones that you see everywhere. It's the mixing engineer guidebook or something.
Oh yeah.
So they have a lot of quotes from a lot of like established engineers in there. So one of the people in there, which is, I've had the pleasure to meet him, and and he's like a god to me as far as, not a god, but you know, he's just somebody I look up to, is Dave Pensado. This is before I knew who Dave was. And Dave, in that book, said, I take breaks. I take breaks every half hour. Even if it's just 5 minutes, sometimes half an hour, maybe a whole hour. Maybe I just fucking leave the studio for a while. But he was like, every half hour I try and break away from the music. Because sometimes you get so caught up in it, it feels like you're in this tornado of the music. It gets all around you, and you just kind of lost your place in it. You don't even know what's going on anymore. The fucking hi-hat sounds crazy, the strings, and it's just not fucking, the vocals are fighting, and you just get in this weird world where you start tweaking and carving, and then when you take that break, you come back and you're like, all that work was for nothing because it sounds terrible. The vocals thin, things are just, and so I like to take breaks because it freshens my ear. Like I said, sometimes, man, I literally go take a walk. I go take a walk and just fucking vibe. Don't listen to shit. You know, a lot of times when I leave sessions, people always ask me, what do you listen to in your car? Nothing. I drive home in the... I drive home in silence a lot. But if you... Right now, if you hear what I got playing in the car, I got jazz playing. I got little instrumental jazz playing. You know, because I hear boom bap all day. And that's my forte. That's what they call me for. Because I make that shit hit. But at the same time, on my downtime, I need to cleanse my palate. You know what I'm saying? I gotta like... I can't just keep listening to fucking boom bap all day. Because then I'm burned out. You know what I mean? You're burned out and then you don't know where to go. So breaks is paramount. And like I said, breaks and maybe an ear cleansing, you know what I mean? Listen to some other music, something that's way different from what you're working on. And I don't know who said it, but I read it somewhere else where they were like, you know, also just in your journey, go see as much live music as possible. You know, go and really train your ear. Give your ear the opportunity to go hear a live band play. You know, go hear what drums really sound like. What a guitar that's an amp that's mic'd really sounds like. Real analog music playing live. And I think that helped me a lot. Sometimes, and it's not like I can pinpoint exactly why it helped me. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, yeah, you know, from that point on, you know, from 60 to 250, I was a master. It's nothing like that, but it just gives context to what you're listening to, and it broadens your palette, and then from there you can kind of go back to your mix and what you're dealing with, and you know, just got a brand new perspective. Favorite record that I did
that you, I guess that you were a part of fully. Because I know you said that mixing, and I feel that you do your own thing in your own box and you're by yourself, kind of, but more of like from start to finish. The you know, your favorite record could be the most fun, or the one that hit you the hardest. You got goosebumps during. I mean, anything. What was your? You probably have a couple, but
yeah, I mean that's a hard one because I ain't gonna lie, it's weird. And again, I've had to read interviews from other engineers to like make me feel better about myself. But I know a lot of engineers that say, man, they don't like to listen to anything they do. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of engineers that don't want to listen to what they did because we know where all the bodies are buried.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? We know where this edit was. We know where this punch was. We know where, I never really got that thing to sit the way I liked it.
yeah.
Everybody else doesn't notice it. Yeah, they fucking love it. It's amazing. And the world loves its fire emojis. But I know that I never liked the way that motherfucker punch came in on that fucking verse right there. You know, that way that thug came in, I just, ugh. So I'm kind of like that where I don't really listen to my records. It's funny because... you know when they sound really cool to me? When I'm not ready for them. Where I'm just kind of like out, and it's a record that I've worked on. I'm like, man, that shit sounds pretty good. I'm like, damn, man. Hey, that guy kind of did his thing. Oh, me? Oh. You know what I'm saying? So I honestly don't really listen to a lot of what I do. I remember for a long time, my first album that I was an engineer, mixer, and damn near really A&R on was Deeper Than Rap for Ross. And I know where all the bodies are buried. And for a long time, for years, I didn't want to listen to it at all. And I remember one time I was in the car with my homeboy, and my homeboy just started playing it. I was like, this shit hard.
Yo, me?
This shit is fucking fire. Because you know why? Because I kind of forgot where all the bodies were. I knew where the big ones were, but I forgot a lot of the idiosyncrasies of all the little things that were going on. And I could just really listen to it, again, like a fresh palette. Like, I had been removed from it so long that it wasn't even me anymore. You know, it's like, it's beyond me. You know what I'm saying? This is music that the world's been listening to for years, and they fucking love it. And they always shout me out, yo, E, what you did on that shit was crazy. And then for him to kind of like sneak attack me with it, and I'm trapped, I'm a passenger in his studio, in his car, and he's going to play what he wants to play. I just got to kind of, this shit is dope. This shit was hard. But I mean, there's a lot of records for different reasons. There's a lot of, Aston Martin was a big record for me. That record comes to mind just because there was so many elements to it, you know. To kind of cut it down, cliff notes of it was, Aston Martin music was produced by Justice League. I love the beat. Ross's manager at the time, Poochie. We didn't even really give him no spiel because we really had no spiel. He had no verses. It was just an instrumental. All we had was Aston Martin music. And we're all talking, yo, bro, what you been up to? Oh, man, I remember back in the day, da, da, da. And then she said, yo, I'm ready. Huh? Yeah, I'm ready. Because the whole time she had a pad with her, and she was like in the conversation with us when she was writing. She didn't say, hey, what do you guys think of this? Or we weren't talking about the record. We were talking about just everyday bullshit. She said, I'm ready. All right, she jumped in the group. I recorded it. And she's the second person in my career I've ever had like that. The first person was Carl Thomas. She recorded all her ad-libs first. Okay, double that. Okay. And all of a sudden, then she came with the lead line. Riding with my and then the ad-libs were already there. In my life, let's be in my boss. And we were all like, what the fuck? It was one of those things that we said about, like, with the BMF in the club. We all gave each other the look. She's in the booth still. And I'm like, what the fuck, bro? What the fuck? Because we were all like, what is she doing? In my life. We're like, and that lead line came in. We're good. We don't need Drake. We're good. It's fucking amazing. You know what I'm saying? And we were sold. We were sold. We got the hook. We are fucking great. We're gonna move forward. Ross still wasn't laying down no vocals to me. We were playing with cassette. He was still, he's like, I don't know, it's just, I don't know how to come in on it. It was just something tempo-wise with him the whole time. And then boom, one night, I remember, and I was mad too, because I remember we was all ready to all go out. Go out too. And then he came downstairs, because we was in Atlanta, his studio's downstairs in his crib. And he came down, he's with his phone. He's like, put your email in, put your email in. I'm like, huh? He's like, Drake said he did it. I'm like, huh? I put my email in. Send the vocals, you know, boom, we got Drake vocals. Now, mind you, these are two different sessions. So we're just playing Drake. Now we're just playing Drake. We know Chrisette, so we know that already. So we're just playing Drake. We're excited about Drake. And then we're like, yo, E, so we got to do this thing, man. Just, you know, work on it. I'm like, we're supposed to go out. I was dressed. That's how crazy it was. I was ready to go out. I was dressed, I got my shit together. Yo, Eve, you know what I'm saying? Get that shit right, man. We want to listen to it when we get back. So then I had to sit there with two separate sessions, two 8-bar hooks. And I literally went through several iterations of it because I was like, do I make Drake? Because we were so sold on Chrisette being the hook now that we were like, do I make Drake a bridge? Do I make him a pre-hook? You know what I mean? And so I went through all those iterations. I went through everything. And again, I got Drake and Chrisette Michelle. Like, it's in my lap. Like, I'm not trying to play. I want when these motherfuckers come back, this shit fucks them up.
So that was your idea to dip the instrumental? Like
no. That was 40. That came with Drake vocals. 40 did that. You know, that was his sound.
Okay.
40 was doing the whole. And what's so dope about 40 is that, and he said in an interview before.
Big crushes, some shit like that.
Crushes.
Big crushes that shit.
It's not a filter. He big crushes it. It's very, very, very smart.
did it on Marvin's Room first time, right, or something like that.
Yeah. Well, he did it. I mean, that was the sound. Even then, we knew. Whenever Drake's that thing is gonna happen.
Yeah.
So then again, I was flipping it around, doing this and that, and I just came to the conclusion. I kind of built a storyline in my head, and the storyline was Crusader's first. Because I was thinking about, I felt like it was a beach record. I felt like it was like the beach, it's Miami, and I just envisioned like daytime, sun, drop top, Crisette's in the passenger, and so because he's more uplift, you know.
Right.
Just me and my boss, and then I felt like Drake was like coming back from the club. That late night when you're tipsy, you're introspective, you know, you're by yourself, you're going home. What did I have to do? So I was like, that's how I'm gonna do it. Boom. And then literally, man, I'll keep it fucking 100, man. I was like teared up. I was like, this is it, man. I felt it. The hairs were standing up. I said, man, I can't think of this is it. And when they came, it was one of those. It's one of those things that are very rewarding. That it's just like, yo, your idea is the idea. We love this. Oh my God, it sounds amazing. Because again, they only heard it with his part, her part. They never heard it together. And I mean, I worked on that shit all night until the fucking second they walked in the door to make sure it fit, it flowed. And then again, man, that was the last song we recorded on the album because he was still like, I don't know how, he didn't exactly know how he wanted to attack it. Once he attacked it, but it was like, it really had to, and that happens to a lot of us. I think I saw a saying where they say, when is the mix done? And they say, I can tell you when the mix done when you give me the deadline. You know what I'm saying? Because it's never going to be done until we have to turn it in, until there's a fucking deadline. We got to turn it in tomorrow. You start to make hard decisions. You start to fucking just say, fuck it, that sounds good, I'm moving forward. Because we got to get this done. Because if not, if you have an open-ended thing, then it's never right. It's always, you could always keep working. So, literally, we're mixing, we got everything mixed. And Aston Martin's already up on the board. Leslie Brathwaite mixed the record, which is a mentor of mine. I love Leslie.
What's up?
Yes, alumni. And Leslie, the fact that you brought that up, when I remember I told you that story in the beginning where I went to they had that tour bus and when I sent away for information on Full Sail, they had this magazine called Get In Magazine, and Leslie was on the cover. And so Leslie's always been the face of like success as an engineer. So for me to actually work with him was crazy, but now I'm in the mix with him, which was funny because it was a funny dynamic. Because I was still like a brand new engineer. I was Ross's guy, but I was still I'm just a tracking engineer. But here I am telling Leslie what I think. Ooh, we bumped heads. I told Justice League what I thought. Because what ended up happening after we already put the record together was I sold Ross on an outro. Ross wanted a fade out. He was cool with it. We were good. Record's dope, So, yeah, just fade that fucker out. We're good. I ain't gonna lie. I think we could do something crazy at the end. And then it was funny because he was like, again, it was one of those you get the gratitude, you feel good. He's like, all right, yeah, well, fuck. Yeah, do it then. And then when he left, I was like, damn, I just created a whole other problem for myself. Now I gotta do this fucking outro that I sold them on. I don't even know what I'm gonna do. And so we were so last minute that I had to go to the mixing session and sell Leslie and Justice League on this outro. And they were feeling it. They were like, bro, it's gonna be too long. You're not gonna play it on the radio. It's gonna be long. And I'm like, yo, bro, we'll do a radio edit. You know what I mean? And I remember this will be the album version. And they were like, somehow, some way, I got him to fucking get on the same page with Justice League. We all went in there and chopped it up, Aston Martin, and what was crazy about that record was that it was. Thank you. I think so too. And that's why he hates that story because boy, I produced that shit. But anyway. It was so crazy. It was so last minute in the mix process that right after I think we mixed that record, I literally flew to New York to master at Sterling Sound in New York. And I'm in the studio back then again, there is no text the song to me. There is no email the song to me. You physically have to give them a CD. And so, real quick, the story there is if he was on the road and I knew his tour schedule, I could kind of like overnight shit to like the next city to him. But this was so last minute that it wasn't even that.
You had to fly yourself.
No, not even. It just we didn't even do it. I just had to fucking be confident that this shit was dope.
Right.
That's how fucking last minute. it was.
Really quick, I just want to do a little shout out. E actually has a podcast. He's making. He's an amazing talker, so I'm sure you guys
First episode
gonna
out
go in
now.
there and listen to it. If you want to scan it, it's on the sheets right there. That's
Please
the
do.
left
If there's
one.
any fucking thing you do tonight,
Scan that.
is follow and subscribe. Show me the love. You know what I'm saying?
Please.
This is a whole new venture. Appreciate you. This is a whole new venture for me. This is one of those things. Huh?
We get a free mix from eMIX.
Yeah, right. But
Yeah.
you got a lot of free game. You got a lot of me. Like I said, whatever I do, my whole fucking heart is in it, and I spilled it to you guys here.
Mm-hmm.
I ask that you please follow that. This is a new venture for me. I didn't want to do a podcast. My big brother Rick Ross forced my hand by giving me a 20-minute interview.
Podcast scan is on the
And
left.
it's
on my
up
right
right
side.
now. I literally released it like 4 days ago. It's my first venture in that. More so than that interview, I will be interviewing a lot of my peers, producers, engineers that have also made a dent in this industry. Alongside that, I'll also be doing tutorials, mix breakdowns of records that have come out, etc., etc. And, you know, from time to time, just like perspective talk and just, you know, this game. And so,
Sonic's mix.
everybody, please, I've been pumping this shit like I want this shit to win. And the more you guys give me energy, the more energy it just pushes me to want to give to you guys.